Hi, this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings. Today we're talking with a country music singer-songwriter. She's from Canada. She's a very, very popular Canadian performer who's been hosting a Canadian TV show. I think it's Canada's Got Talent, if I'm not mistaken. We've got a guest who's got a lot of talent, Lindsay Ellis, with us. Welcome to the Voice of America.
Hi, Larry. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be with you today.
Now, tell me about this PBS television connection that you've got. How did this come about? It's a big project with a Grammy-nominated song, or a song that's being considered by the Grammy Foundation. So how did this all happen?
Yeah, Larry, I mean, first off, if you were to tell 8-year-old little Lindsay, who had a Grammy on her vision board way back then, that she'd have a song under Grammy consideration right now, she would probably freak out. And so, yeah, I'm just so grateful. PBS created the show called American Anthems, and they set up an artist every episode with a hero somewhere across the country who just has an incredible story, who is doing incredible things with their life. And I was just so grateful when I heard of the concept of the show. I was like, sign me up, I'm in. And they paired me up with this amazing woman. Her name's Greta Mclean. She is a retired police officer. She worked in the sexual harassment unit. And years after she retired, she was actually attacked and raped. And just the juxtaposition of that to her story, and the juxtaposition of that to my story. I'm a survivor, and we were able to meet on camera and just feel so many of the same things, and having experienced similar things and similar stories throughout the course of our lives. It was just such a beautiful bonding experience. And it's this beautiful thing that PBS has done in this show, like to pair artists with these heroes, and they just have the same common ground or commonality. So it was amazing getting to meet her. And what Greta didn't know is I was going to play a few songs for her and her friends at the end of the episode. So she knew that was happening, but she didn't know that I was also writing a song directly for her about her story. And so I called a good friend of mine, Mr. Christian Bush, and we wrote a song that day, within hours, about her and her story that actually I think is applicable to anyone who's been through trauma in their life, and just showing you the power of when you can really shine light on your own story and how that can inspire other human beings. So it's called Let the Words Come Out. And at the end of the episode, Christian and I are up there and we play the song, and I was like, Greta, I have actually a surprise for you. Christian and I have written a song today that we would like to play for you. And so she was crying, and it's just such an emotionally charging episode. Every episode this season is just so beautiful and really inspiring in its own right. And so everyone at PBS loved Let the Words Come Out so much. They were like, this is one of our favorite songs throughout the whole course of the season, that we really would like to release it. And so I'm just so happy that songs that do good and songs that want to say good things can be heard by the world. And it's actually the live version that we recorded on the show, and we played for Greta herself, because we thought that was just such a special moment to capture. And yeah, I'm so grateful that the world can hear it now.
And for the benefit of our worldwide viewers and listeners who may or may not know, Christian is one half of the Sugarland duo of Christian Bush and Jennifer Nettles, very, very popular in country music. Now, I want to go back to something you said. You mentioned that you are also a victim of either it's molestation. I'm not sure exactly of your story, your personal story, but I think that the most important thing that people need to understand who are in a situation similar to yours and to Greta's is that speaking out is important. A lot of people go through this and are kind of internalizing and maybe blaming themselves and saying, this was my fault. I shouldn't seek help. I shouldn't say anything. I think bringing this particular situation to light is critical in kind of taking care of this, remedying it, stopping it.
Larry, I think that's such an important thing to say. And if anything, that's exactly what we wrote this song about, is let the words come out, let your story be heard. I was raped when I was a little girl, when I was 13 years old, and I didn't tell anybody until I was 20, because I thought that I had done something wrong, and I thought that I maybe was going to get in trouble, or I didn't know what was going to happen. And when you're that young, when you're a kid, you don't really know how to process these things. But even on my last album, it was the first time I came out with my story. And since then, I have gotten thousands of DMs from other survivors or from survivors of domestic abuse, and just all of these incredible things that these human beings have had to go through. And it is quite surprising how many people, like you said, have not told anybody, have kept this like underneath their chest for years and years. And some of them are like, thank you for saying this. You've inspired me to go reach out to somebody, or here's my story. This is the first time I'm telling anybody, or I'm going to go get help. And I think that knowing that when we can, you know, supercharge those words and let them out, that's what gives us so much healing. That it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of bravery, but I think there's nothing else like it in the course of our journey. And when we can really understand that as we get vulnerable as human beings with each other, that's what bonds us together deeper, you know? Yeah. And so if you have been through something, you know, it's almost like our responsibility as a human on this earth to be able to share that with each other.
And through your craft, you're able to help many people. And it is a wonderful gift that you have in songwriting, that this is therapeutic for someone who's gone through a situation such as yours. You know, it's a bit therapeutic. You can tell stories and emotions and feelings that and expose them to a lot of people. I mean, you know, in your case, millions and millions of people. I know you just performed at the Canadian Country Music Association Awards. And as I say, you're hosting a TV show, and you were on tour with Shania Twain, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been a busy year. Yeah. I'm just so grateful, as you said, that I can use my platform to do good. You know, I'm so happy that I can wake up every morning and do what I love as a job. But I really got into this because I wanted to be able to inspire other people through music and, you know, write messages into songs that would maybe make someone feel a little bit better leaving a venue than they did walking into a venue. And yeah, this year has just been incredible. We were touring with Little Big Town this summer. We just finished a month in Europe. We were touring with the Cadillac 3 in the UK. We just finished 3 weeks in Australia, came home. Yeah, I got to open for Shania this summer, which was just wild. Again, if you were to tell little 10-year-old Lindsay that was going to happen, she would be like, you're joking. That's insane. But I'm just so grateful to be able to be around these artists that I've looked up to for forever, seeing that, you know, the hard work never stops. You know, even at this level of their career, they are investing even more so than they maybe did when they started out. And so I'm really grateful to be around that energy.
And what are the fans in, you know, Australia or Germany or other places that you tour? How do they respond to country music? We know what country music is here in the US. How is country music received, you know, elsewhere around the planet?
Yeah, well, I'm originally Canadian, and I've been living in Nashville for 10 years. And so I having, you know, an international career and an international focus on our touring has always been a huge priority to me. And I just love being able to tour around the world. I mean, fans in the UK, fans in Australia, they're just so sweet. They appreciate musicianship. You know, when I really look at my music, it's like a little bit country, a little bit rock, a little bit blues, a little bit pop. And so really playing internationally, I feel like we can speak to a lot of different fan bases in a lot of different ways. And anytime we go, just coming back from Australia, I feel like fans really care about lyrics, and they really care about guitar solos, which selfishly I am all about. And it's just so nice to see that kind of appreciation and passion from an audience and feel it on stage. And so we love touring internationally, and it's been amazing to get back out there after the past few years.
So when you were 10, that's when you decided music was what you wanted to do?
It was, yeah. I started playing instruments when I was 6 and 8 years old, and I started touring when I was 10. And I was like, man, this is a really good way to go right here. You know, you can set up in front of an audience and do your thing. And that's pretty cool.
We've got Lindsay Ellis on the show. Let the words come out. It's a very personal, very painful story, a song that was inspired by a true story of a person who was a policeman in the sexual abuse division of a police department. And this was before or after her personal experience that she joined the police force?
It was after, actually. She had been a part of the police force for 12 years, and then she actually retired from the unit. And how crazy of a story that that's actually what she would go through herself a few years later. And so it's amazing. Yeah, her name's Greta Mclean, and she's dedicated her life for being an advocate to other survivors, and has started a beautiful nonprofit called Silence No Longer here in the state of Tennessee, and is just such a strong woman and with an inspiring story, and really encourages other survivors on their path to healing.
And PBS has graciously taken this mini feature, and so it will feature Lee Brice, I believe, and Jennifer Nettles, who's the other half of Sugarland, and of course yourself. And so how long is the series going to go on?
Oh my gosh. I hope, Larry, this series goes on a very, very long time, because it's just so heartwarming. It makes you feel so good. People can go to pbs.org and stream the whole season. Yeah, you have Jennifer Nettles, you have Lee Brice, you have Cam, you have all of these cool artists meeting all of these different heroes from different walks of life in different places across the country. And so it's a beautiful show and a beautiful season. And I particularly love episode 4.
Lindsay Ellis, our guest. Now, before I let you go, you personally have a love affair with the troops. You've done USO tours, and so the troops are tuned in today to our show, and some of them have gone through sexual abuse and domestic violence and things of the nature. And we talked about that earlier, that it's very important to talk out, to find someone, to get help. Don't blame yourself. This is certainly not your fault. Seek some help out. And I wanted to give you a chance to send a message out to the troops who are tuned in around the world right now.
Oh my goodness. Thank you all for all of our servicemen and servicewomen around the world. I just want to say thank you for your dedication, for your sacrifices, for everything that you do to keep us safe in this country. We just spent some time with the U.S. Marines in Darwin, Australia, with the Australian Defence Force over there as well, and got to tour the whole base. And it's just really eye-opening to see what you guys do on a daily basis, the training that you do, and just how you have to be away from your family and friends a lot. And I was just wowed. I was in awe. I was speechless by the end of the day. And we had such a cool show at the end of the night. And I will say, you guys are the best audience for singing along, for participating in the show. We had such a good time. That was like my favorite show on our whole Australian tour. And I want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do, and just sending so much love your way.
Does Lindsay Ellis have a new album coming out soon?
Yes, Larry, I've been in the studio as busy as a little bee working on new music. I'll have a song out later this year and an album to come next year.
Please join us when you put out the album. We'd love to have you back.
You got it. Done and done.
Thank you. Lindsay Ellis, our guest. She's on PBS. Make sure you check her out. And of course, buy the album when it comes out next year. Thank you, Lindsay, again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Larry.
This is Border Crossings on VOA TV.